Hot news: Supreme Court allows Trump restrictions on transgender troops in military to go into effect. The Supreme Court on Tuesday allowed President Trump's broad restrictions on transgender people serving in the military to go into effect while the legal battle continues in lower courts. The justices lifted nationwide injunctions that had kept the administration's policy from being implemented. It reversed an Obama administration rule that would have opened the military to transgender men and women, and instead barred those who identify with a gender different from the one assigned at birth and who are seeking to transition. The court's 5 conservatives, Chief Justice John G. Roberts Jr., and Justices Clarence Thomas, Samuel A. Alito Jr., Neil M. Gorsuch and Brett M. Kavanaugh, allowed the restrictions to go into effect while the court decides whether to consider the merits of the case. The liberal justices Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Stephen G. Breyer, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan would have kept the injunctions in place. Trump surprised even his own military advisors in July 2017 when he announced a sweeping ban on transgender people's military service via Twitter. He cited what attorneys for active duty service members went to court to block the policy shift, which could subject current transgender service members to discharge and deny them certain medical care. The court rulings were met with another policy revision from then Secretary of Defense Jim Mattis, who issued a plan to bar those from the military who identify with a gender different from their birth gender and who are seeking to transition. Mattis' plan while several lower courts have blocked the policy, the changes were persuasive to a panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit, the government took substantial steps to cure the procedural deficiencies previously identified by a lower court, the panel said in a short order. Although the policy is not a blanket ban, the court concluded, because not all transgender persons seek to transition to their preferred gender or have gender dysphoria. The controversy over allowing transgender service members to serve openly has a long past. The Obama administration opened the military to transgender service members in June 2016, focusing first on allowing those already in the service to remain in legally and then with providing them medical care. In announcing the policy approved said that not later than July 1, 2017, the Pentagon would update its medical standards to include people who have a history of gender dysphoria, the medical term for wanting to transition gender. It added that Mattis, Trump's first defense secretary, delayed opening the military to transgender recruits on the eve of that deadline by another 6 months, citing a request from the Joint Chiefs of Staff for further study. In the meantime, the situation was thrown into turmoil a few weeks later with Trump's tweet. Marine General Joseph F. Dunn. Trump issued a presidential memorandum the following month that accused the Obama administration of allowing transgender military service without identifying a sufficient basis that doing so would not hinder military effectiveness and lethality, disrupt unit cohesion, or tax military resources. He directed Mattis. With legal battles still underway, Mattis wrote in a memo to the president that he was in favor of letting most transgender troops already in the military to stay, so long as they have not undergone gender reassignment surgery and are able to deploy across the world. Service members, but Mattis' view on bringing in additional transgender people as recruits was more closely aligned with the president's. By its very nature, military service requires sacrifice, Mattis said in the memo. The men and women, federal judges required the military to begin allowing transgender recruits beginning in January 2018, and the Pentagon has not stood in the way of those rulings. Instead, Anne E. Marimo contributed to this report.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.